Hey, third grade. We have made it to the end of our fairy tale unit, and we are pretty much, almost at the end of third grade. So I'm really excited for you guys. The lesson today is going to be super easy and probably really short, unless I go off on a tangent and start talking a lot. But today's lesson is all about polishing up our slideshow. So at this point, you should have your whole story written out. You should have all of your editing and revising done. You have your dialogue, your narration, all of your parts that are making your story magical and perfect. The only thing you might be missing is like all of the finishing touches, which is why I am here today to help you. So, things that we're going to be working on today is like changing our font, changing the background pictures of things, colors, and putting photographs in. I do have a little bit of bad news. So I was really trying hard to figure out how you guys can put your voice into the fairy tale so that when people are watching your presentation, it's almost like a read aloud, like you can read to them. Um, but Google Slides doesn't have the program that you guys need to do that. We'd have to download an extension, and then it's a really complicated process. And I didn't want you guys to get overwhelmed by that. If that's something you're super interested in, you can have a one on one about that with either me or Mrs. Lutz, but it is kind of confusing. So don't worry about it. Um, but it is something that you guys can talk to us about if you desperately, desperately want. So for today, let's talk about how to change up our slides because right now all of our slides look the same, right? Something just happened to my computer. All of our slides look totally the same. We have this like orange, the yellow and blue, and like same font, same style. So, how can we make ours stand out? Some of you have already started to make yours stand out, and that's okay if you haven't yet. But I want to show you some things that we can do. So, I'm going to shrink myself down here. Okay. And I'll hang out down here because all the buttons that we need are up top. So I'm on my first slide, all right, and we can click on this background button, and this lets us change our background. So we can either change it by color or we can choose an image. This is kind of cool. So when we choose an image, what's going to automatically come up is this upload and browse and all of that. But what I want you to go to, you can do a Google image search. And so for Mrs. Lutz and I's story, this is about Cinderella and it takes place in New York City. So I'm going to do New York City skyline. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to pick this one here. I like the black and white photo. I have to move myself because it doesn't really distract with any other colors. So I am going to put that image in there and then I'm going to click done. Now it's not perfect yet because it still has some of the other parts, but you see the images popping in there. So now what I can do is I can click into this white box and I can make it smaller. I can move it around. You have to get the arrows that go in all four directions in order to be able to move something around. So I'm going to move this to the tippy top. There we go. And I'm going to move this to the bottom, and I don't really need that blue. I like the way it looks, but I'm not really needing it, right? Let's see, can I click on it? It doesn't look like I can click on it. So let's see what's going on here. Sorry, guys. Maybe. I have an idea. What if I do something funky like this? So this is like rotating your text, which can be pretty cool to do. Some people like it. Some people are like, that's crazy. But you'll notice, I'm just trying to line this up with the blue here. You'll notice that Mrs. Lutz and Miss Feliciano's name is also rotated, but I can click on that separately and use this little circle here to rotate that back around to where I want it. And then I have to move this around a little bit till I get those the four-way arrow. There it is. And then I can drag it back down here. All right, cool. So let's say that's my cover page. All right. Now maybe I want to change the font. So I'm going to highlight and I can click down here for fonts. And I have some fonts on my computer. You guys might have them too, or you might have some different ones. It really depends on the different updates and things. So I don't know how I got some of these fonts. They're just kind of here, which lucky for me. Let's see. This is about New York City. So I want something like modern, let's say Architect's Daughter. Yeah, I think I like that. All right, cool. So now I'm on my scene 1. And so scene 1 here is once upon a time in New York City, there was a girl named Cinderella who loved playing basketball. So here's where we're starting to learn about basketball and cheerleading. So what I might do, insert image, and this might be a refresher for a lot of us because we did this for our nonfiction unit too. So instead of doing upload from computer, we're going to do search the web, and we're going to have this little window that pops up on the side. So I'm going to slide myself over. And I said we're learning about what? Basketball and cheerleading here. So when we're adding images, we might have to reread our slide to see where we're at. So I'm going to do basketball. And here's a basketball. Love it. Maybe I like this photograph. Maybe I want more of like a cartoon picture. I'll go with the cartoon. So if I click on like all of these, they're going to select a whole bunch. So you can see here it says 4 selected. That means if I click that insert button, all 4 of those pictures are going to go into my slide. And I don't want that because I'm only looking for 1. You might want that to happen. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to uncheck some of these and say, okay, change my mind. I'm only going to use this one, and then click insert. And now you can have this big old picture that pops up. So I'm going to shrink it down by using those 4 corners. And maybe I'm going to put it down here. Okay. And then I also wanted to insert a picture about the cheerleading. So I'm going to make sure that this isn't highlighted. I'm going to click somewhere else on my screen. Okay. Because what happens is if I go to insert an image while this is highlighted blue with the editing thing, that new image will replace the highlighted image. It kind of thinks that you're saying, I don't want this, let's switch it. So if you unclick it and you click anywhere else and nothing is highlighted, then you can add a brand new picture and start layering things. So image, search the web, and I'm going to be looking for pom-poms. Let's see if I find some cheerleading pom-poms. Looks like this was not specific enough, so I'm going to write cheerleading pom-poms. All right. And then maybe I'm going to put this picture up. Right? If I put too many colors, it might be distracting to my readers. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And maybe I'll do 2 of these, 1 for each sister. So I'm going to do copy and paste. Now I have something in my eye. Now I have 2 cheerleaders and I can move them. Okay. And that can represent the 2 sisters. Now I have this text blue here. Maybe I don't really want it blue, so I can highlight it. Maybe some of you want red text. If you do use red text, I suggest using like a deeper, darker red. Sometimes that bright red is really hard to read on the eyes. This one here can be super, super bright. So I have blue here. Maybe I want to go with like a deep navy. I'll go dark blue over here. Okay. And then maybe I'm like, I think this text is a little bit, all over the place. So I'm going to slide my text box up, and you can even condense this, like make it smaller. And let's say I wanted the cheerleader sisters to be going up and down the page here, right? You can just kind of move things around. They don't have to be lined up. They can be lined up. But maybe I say, you know what? I want even more space for my pictures. So I'm going to shorten my text box, right? You're just going to keep dragging it and say, okay, now I have all the space I need for my pictures. Here's one sister. Here's two sisters. Here's my basketball. Okay, I'm good to go, right? Okay. And then maybe I want to, for some of you might want to keep your scenes. Some of you might want to say, I don't want that, right? So if you don't want this yellow scene 1 or scene 2, you can change the way it looks. Let's say you didn't want it yellow. You can go to this highlight button and you can either do transparent, which means no highlight at all, or you can say, all right, I want a blue highlight instead. And then it turns blue. If you highlight it, click and drag. You have to be careful because sometimes it highlights and sometimes it drags. So you see this little cursor that looks like the letter I? That tells you that you're ready to highlight the text. Okay, so let's say I'm like, I don't really like the blue. I don't like the yellow. I just want to do nothing. So then you can click that highlight tool again and click transparent. And then voila, it's gone. You can change, like I said, the color, the text style, the size. You can make it bold. There's a lot of things you can do here. So your job today is just to really have fun with customizing your slides, right? Make sure that all of your text, is the same color for the most part, unless you're intentionally making it different colors. If you wanted to add a background to like this specific slide, you can click on the background button. And right now it says the color is white. You can choose an image, right? I suggest that if you have text and pictures going in, having a pictured background might make it hard to read. So I'm just going to go with a color here because I have text and maybe, I don't know, let's make it yellow. Why not, right? And there we go. If at any point you're like, it looks okay here, but it's a little small. I wonder what it looks like in a slideshow. You can see this present button. You can click on present, or you can do this little triangle drop down and it says presenter view, present from the beginning. You can present from the beginning. So let's see what mine looks like right now. And then it kind of, this is what your audience is going to see. So then I have to decide, okay, do I like this? This is the slide that we just designed, right? Do we like it? Yes or no? What would I change? What would I keep? Maybe I'm happy with it. Here's my cover slide. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Right? You have to decide. So sometimes when we're editing, to get out of this, you can click exit, or you can, on your keyboard, press the escape button. It's in the top left. It says ESC. Okay. Sometimes you just have to kind of look at it like your audience is going to see it, because we have like these red squiggles and we have all of these little edity things and it's a little smaller. So it's hard for us to get like the full picture of what our final presentation is going to look like. But when we use that present button, it's a way for us to see what our audience is going to see at the end, right? So I always like to, when I'm finishing editing my slides and like adding all of my final touches, before I'm ready to submit it and like share it out with my friends, I like to do the present and I just kind of click through and see, okay, do I like the way every slide looks? And I ask myself, can my readers read my words, right? Is it too small? Is it too big? Is it too bright? Do I need to change colors? Do I need to change fonts? Also think about, not everyone is really good at reading script, right? Some people can read script text. Some people can't read script text. So sometimes it's kind of best to go with regular printed text instead of scripted text. Just something to think about. Let's see what else. I think that's it as far as cool things that we can add. If you feel like, Miss Feliciano, I don't want to keep going through every single slide one by one by one, there's a theme button here. And you can click on any one of these themes, okay, and say, you know what? I am going to make my whole presentation this theme. This fits. So it'll take some time to load, but it's just a quick way for you, and it'll change all of your fonts. Some stuff will not be perfect, right? See here. It's still taking some time to fix itself. Some things will not be totally perfect and you might have to go in and change. So if you see it, I clicked on beach day, it has this white part and then the green underneath. So the green is what's showing the image and then the white stays white. So I would have to decide if I wanted to keep or change that. I'm just going to do undo on that. But yeah, there's this theme button where you can kind of pick through themes and make your life a little bit quicker. Here's the theme that our original slideshow was. So you can use the themes and then change it from there, or you can just totally custom do it by clicking that background button for each slide. Okay, good luck. And I can't wait to see what you guys create today. Bye.